To this historical second at-large summit, which is a follow-up to the first at-large summit that took place 5 years ago in 2009, and which has, I think, at least 3 times the number of people of the first at-large summit. It's really, really great to see you all here, having flown in from all around the world. And it's really great to be able to say good morning rather than good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. We have a few people who are also following us in remote participation as well. You're very welcome to be also on in the room as well and be able to discuss what's going on here. You're also very welcome to tweet as the day passes by, and I think we'll probably have an update later on from staff with regards to what the tweet channels are, etc. We've got a very, very packed agenda for the week, starting with this weekend, which is going to be extremely packed, and where we're going to get you to work. And that's to do with the thematic working groups, which we'll be speaking to you about later on today. It's really, really exciting to see you all here. I'm so pleased. It's the result of, I think, about 2 years, Eduardo, 2 years of work. Next to me is Eduardo Diaz, in case you have not met him. And we'll go through the table afterwards as the various speakers come and speak to us this morning. We're starting a little bit late, so I think we can go straight into our first speaker, who is sitting on my right, and that's the chairman, the president and CEO and chairman and everything else of ICANN, and that's Fadi Shehadi. So thank you for joining us, Fadi.
Good morning to all of you. It is wonderful to be here. I must start by thanking the people who made this possible. First and foremost, Olivier, for his incredible leadership that got us to this wonderful site in front of me. And second, to my fellow colleague and board member, Sébastien Bachelet. Sébastien worked tirelessly on me to make sure I understand why this is important. He supported me on the board, and he supported this decision to fund this day and to make it possible. I've done the least by simply taking the time to understand these folks and to make this happen. So please, I want you to recognize that it is their leadership that makes this possible. So thank you for that, Sébastien. And of course, we now welcome on the board of directors your choice of Rinaya Abdulrahim to be your board member. I already see, because we've agreed to include Rinaya on some of the board activities already, even though she will be a board member later this year. I already see the energy, the passion, and the commitment she brings to the board. I think we're very lucky to have her as well. So thank you for that. I have 3 pages of prepared remarks that my staff gave me to talk to you about. And if they don't mind, because they're in the room, I'm going to skip these and just talk to you. So if you allow me to be a bit extemporaneous here. I have been at ICANN for 2 years, and this is the first time I see you all in a room. The first tough talk I had with anyone at ICANN past my interviews was with the man to my left. He walked with me near midnight in Prague at my first ICANN meeting, and he described to me why you are the heart of ICANN. He didn't use the word heart. He used another word that I won't repeat. I'll let him say. But he described you as really the heart of what ICANN is about, because you are the part that touches the ground that ICANN stands on. And I remember at the time, of course, every leader of every community was telling me the same thing. But Olivier got to me. He definitely got to me. And I must tell you that the more I got to know your community, the more I understood what he was trying to tell me. But today I want to admit to you as well that I don't think ICANN, as an organization, actually appreciates the treasure we have in you. I don't think we do. I think we have sister organizations that run around and talk about who they have in the field and how they hear the voices of the users. But we have not gotten to the point where we actually appreciate what you can do for ICANN. We're not there. And it's thanks to the leadership of Olivier and Sébastien and many of you that I'm looking at here in the room, Cheryl, Wolfgang, many of you that I recognize, Carlton, that I think I'm starting to come around to understand that we need to work together to change this. Not just under my leadership while I'm here, but forever. Institutionally, you need to become a vibrant part of what ICANN is. And let me tell you why. This is not sentimental, and I'm not just telling you this because I'm in the room. I'll tell you why. Because it is so easy for ICANN, that has developed such a large institution with a lot of money, to forget what it's about. It is easy. This year, my budget, including the new GTLD program, is close to $200 million. This is a pretty large organization. Now, of course, the operational budget is half of that, but with the GTLD program operation, it's about double, $200 million. This is a big institution. And big institutions with a lot of money often forget easily what they're about. The part of ICANN that can remind us why we're doing this is you. Is you. Because your interests are tied to the billions of users who are counting on this internet working for them. Somehow, that link needs to be strengthened. And today, in my opinion, is a good day to put our hearts together to actually do that, to start that. And I'm extremely committed to this. You need to know that. We need to make sure that your organisms, your structures are not only supported, but are also united with a mission, with a set of themes and issues that we will handle together. So let's start this journey together, Olivier and Rinaldia, on the board, all of us, and all of you, each one of you. There's, and at large, there is not a leader. We're all leaders, because each of you is a link to a large group as well. Let me switch and talk a little bit about what's happening today, this week at ICANN, and ask for your help and your sharpness about the importance of the events ahead of us. This is ICANN's 50th meeting. 15 years on, ICANN is entering a really new stage. We now need to be without the training wheels of the US government. And I use the example of the training wheels, and I'll say it again in my opening ceremony on Monday, because a lot of people forget that when ICANN was created, it was purpose-built to manage the IANA functions. That's what it was created to do. So when I hear voices saying separate IANA from ICANN, it's just, I mean, so what do we do with ICANN? Or what do? You have to recreate ICANN to run the IANA functions. So if there are issues with ICANN, it's incumbent upon us to fix them, but not to rebuild an entire new organization. ICANN was built to manage the IANA functions. Everything we do is to ensure the right names, the right policies are actually built into our system. Now, the US government, when they created ICANN, they put some, what I call training wheels on this bicycle, to say, let's make sure this bicycle doesn't fall apart. And when they designed these training wheels, they thought the training wheels will be off in the year, does anyone know? What year did they think So they started ICANN when? You know, we've done 98, 99?
98, and it was planned for 2000.
Yeah, 2000. That's exactly right. They said 2 years on, we removed the training wheels. You're good to go. And the person who designed this, partly designed this, is Ira Magaziner. I saw him on Sunday, and Ira was telling me, "You're 14 years late." What the heck is going on? He said, "You should have removed these wheels 14 years ago." Let's not worry about why it didn't happen in the last 14 years, but let's focus on today. On March 14th, the United States government declared that it is now ready to remove these wheels. Many people, I was just in Kuwait and I was in Singapore last week, and I met many governmental officials and ministers who are telling me, "Oh, this is all a bluff. It's not going to happen. Why would the US ever give up control? You're making this up so that we can all..." Good morning, boss. This is my boss, Dr. Crocker. So this is all a bluff. You're just telling us this so that you lull us in a year when the ITU will meet in Busan and other things will happen. Of course, this won't happen. Let me assure you that the United States government decision on March 14th was not a bluff. For those of us who were there and worked the hallways of State Department, of White House, of Department of Commerce, DOD, one after the other, to get to that final decision on March 14th, this is not a bluff. The United States government has come to the conclusion that what should have happened in 2000 is now ready to happen. And it's our window and it's our opportunity to claim it's a bluff and miss it, or to do it. Now, why is it important to do, people ask. Some people say the US government hasn't been bad. And in fact, it hasn't. Let's first admit this. The US government has been a great steward of the internet. A great steward of the internet. No one is perfect. We can always find faults with the US government. But they have kept their promise, and they have not meddled in ICANN's affairs. And in 15 years, how many times did we go to the US government and say we're going to make an addition or a change to the route, and they said no? Who remembers how many times? 0. Never. So let's recognize good faith and good work. Now, why do we want it though? We want it because the internet is now, as the US envisioned from day one, the world's internet. It's nobody's internet. It's our internet. It's everyone's internet. And having one government have a unique role in the internet is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And they accept that and understand that, and they're working with us on that. So, we designed 2 tracks to remove the training wheels. And by the way, how many people here have helped their children learn to bike with training wheels and then remove these wheels at some point? Few people here, okay? Few hands. I trained my 2 boys to ride and they had training wheels. When I removed these training wheels, did I put them back on? Of course not. That would crush my child. After telling him, "Hey, I can remove these," and then a week later, I gotta put these again. No. The idea here is to remove these training wheels. So when people say we're going to replace the training wheels with what? ICANN. ICANN is the system that was built to manage IANA. And then people say, but the bike is not perfect, and it's not tuned up, and it's not steady. Fine, let's tune it up. But we don't need to put new government control over ICANN. We want ICANN to be strong and steady. And it's our job to tune it. What does it mean to tune it? So we have these 2 tracks. One track, which is called the transition of the stewardship track, which will have a coordinating committee. This one we're managing with the entire internet community, the IETF. Everybody's involved. And that's important. That's the track that will define the functional roles of the players as the US government steps out of the room. Because remember, when I was going to add Paris to the route. I do all my work with all of you, and then I go to the US government and say, we're ready to add Paris. What do? They go tell VeriSign, you may add Paris. So now the US government steps out of the room. We do our work, we're ready to add Paris. Who's going to tell VeriSign to add Paris? We need to decide. Right? So with a key player stepping out of the game, we need to decide who's going to do what. This is important. We have to define the functional roles of the players. When a key player that's been in the middle of the room steps out. Now the second track, which we're calling the accountability track, is the track that will make sure the bike doesn't fall over. It's what are the accountability mechanisms we need to put in place to make sure the bike goes straight? What are these things? Do we need an audit mechanism to make sure ICANN does its work properly? I don't know. Let's decide. When you are upset with an ICANN decision, who do you go to? What is your recourse mechanism? Is the independent review panel working? If it's not working, what do we do? These are the things we need to decide. ICANN is growing up. This meeting marks the beginning of that maturation process. It is up to us to say the bike is steady, and if it's not, we'll tune it up together and make it work. And the world is watching us. The world is watching us. Because if we behave immaturely and show that we're not ready, then the world will say, you know what, get these training wheels back on, or get some training wheels back on. Finally, I'm going to touch on internet governance. You know that the last two meetings of ICANN and NetMundial and etc. have been a lot of discussion about internet governance, right? At this meeting, there will be very little focus on that because we have to take care of our home now. We have a lot of work to do to ensure ICANN is ready for the new stage. Now, that doesn't mean internet governance is off the agenda. Internet governance is on every agenda of every person who cares about the internet. But we have priorities. And the priority today here in this week is to make sure we as a unit are ready to be without the US government. Good, unique role, but now necessary to sunset and move forward without it. But on internet governance, I want to tell you this. NetMundial was a watershed moment. It was a very unique moment. And the spirit of NetMundial, the outcome of NetMundial, will not be lost. So the board has asked me in the last few months to take what we have achieved, all of us at NetMundial, and to find a bigger platform with other partners who will work with us. Not ICANN just always leading and being forward, but ICANN being part of a larger alliance, a larger coalition that is ensuring that what happened at NetMundial continues. So we're working on that, we're attracting other players, and I suspect that as soon as this alliance is birthed, we will work together as a community to support it and make sure that it helps us keep the internet open for everyone. I want to close by giving you a bit of information that I'm very excited about. One of the things we've all heard in the last 2 years is that the danger we face today is for the internet to be fragmented. Some people use the word balkanized, but do we have any people from the Balkans here? Okay, no balkanized. Let's talk about fragmentation. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm very careful now not to use that word. Having come from Lebanon as well, we've seen my country split in so many ways. Let's not talk about it. But fragmentation of the internet is the subject, of course, of the book that Eric Schmidt wrote at Google. It's written up quite a bit. The balkanization, fragmentation, division of the internet. And people have been very worried about which country leading the fragmentation of the internet. Which country always comes up when we talk about fragmentation? China. Why China? Because they have 620 million users, and supposedly, because they have 620 million users, they can split off. And in fact, we know for sure that China has an alternate route to the internet that's already built some of our new GTLD applicants who are suffering from the process were informed by some Chinese officials that their new GTLDs are already in the new route. Come over here, it's all working. I must share with you today this important bit of information because we're one community and you need to know that. We have been talking to China about this. And we have been trying to see if this is actually in the interest of China. And I want to commend my team. We have a great ICANN team on the ground there in Asia and China. In Asia, by the way, we're up to 21 people. A year ago, we had 1 person in Asia and 4 if you count Asia Pacific. Now that region has 21 people. Anyway, that team went with me to China. And I want to give you a fact that I'm very pleased about. WeChat is a Chinese application. It has 135 million users outside China. Do you think the Chinese government would like to break off their internet? Alibaba is about to become one of the largest IPOs in history. Alibaba links the world and the commerce of the world. Do you think they really want to break that up? So the Chinese are going to come to the table because they are realizing, in a good way, that they are part of the one big internet and they need to stay part of it. And I'm happy to share with you that China has appointed now a full-time minister of the internet who reports to the president, Mr. Lu Wei. And I'm happy to report to you that Lu Wei and I met in Beijing and he agreed to attend the ICANN meeting. He will be here on Monday. So I think this is great progress and we need to embrace the 600 million users in China and bring them under this tent. So if you see him, don't quite give him a hug, but at least give him a handshake and tell him welcome to ICANN. I'm very sorry for those of you who couldn't make it because of visa problems. I am terribly